Good evening, everybody. Welcome to night 2 of the Miami Film Festival. Yes. It is my honor to present the East Coast premiere of The Weasel's Tale, directed by Juan José Campanella. This film competes for the Knight Marimbas Award, and the screening is supported by the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation and sponsored by Flix Latino and Viendo Movies, available with Xfinity. Tonight's very special guest needs no introduction, but suffice to say that Juan José Campanella has created some of the most beloved films, not only in the history of Argentinian cinema, but in the history of world cinema, from the funny and moving Son of the Bride, which was nominated for an Oscar, to the Oscar-winning thriller, The Secret in Their Eyes, to the animated treasure, Underdogs. In his latest film, The Weasel's Tale, which is going to delight you tonight, he's crafted a witty and fast-turning script and directed some of Argentina's finest actors who clearly had an absolute ball bringing it to life. You're going to love it. This is another gem of a movie that is sure to be loved around the world, as all of Campanella's work is. It is my honor to welcome to the stage for an onstage conversation the director of Weasel's Tale, Juan José Campanella.
Muchas gracias. Esto es mío. Okay. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much. Lovely theater.
Yes, right?
Lovely theater, yes.
Miami's finest. First of all, on behalf of the Miami Film Festival, thank you so much for coming to Miami again and bringing this amazing film. You're one of our most frequent and beloved guests, and we're honored to have you back.
I love to be here, so thank you so much for inviting.
Great. So one of the things that I think is striking about your body of work is all your films have a distinct Campanella touch, and yet at the same time, you've done so many different kinds of films. I'm reminded of like a Sidney Lumet, for example, who can do so many different...
Which one?
Sidney Lumet. I'm reminded of his filmography. He could do so many different kinds of things, just like you. You did a thriller and Secret in Their Eyes, an animated hit, comedies, romance. Is that something that just happens organically, or do you consciously try to do something different?
Well, I do try to do something different, or to tell a story that I haven't told before. In the films, television gives you the opportunity to explore character better, so you can go deeper and in different directions with the character over the course of the weeks. But in films, I try to tell stories that I haven't told before. The thriller of Secret in Their Eyes came after, Son of the Bride and Luna de Avellaneda, which is a film that in Argentina we love.
It's one of my favorites.
Oh, thank you so much, very much. And but there's always something in common that I think there's a sense of humor to them, and sometimes it's preponderant, and sometimes it's the secondary taste, flavor to it, but it's always present, and I think there's at a certain point, even in this film, which is an homage to, remember the old British lady killers and those comedies, or the Billy Wilder or something like that. But it has at a certain point, there's a connection. We try to no matter whether the characters are a DA, like in Secret in Their Eyes, or a restaurateur, or a great diva like in this film, what I always try to find is what connects us to those characters. And no matter what the genre or what the style, there should be moments where we connect and we live what they're living.
Absolutely. So you actually have a great history of working in the American film industry. You studied at the School of the Arts. And I don't know if everyone knows this, but you've directed a huge number of hit American TV shows, Halt and Catch Fire, Colony, on which you're an executive producer, House, Law and Order. But it seems for your films, you seem to draw inspiration from Argentina and set it there. Is that something that's a creative choice, that you feel more inspiration for your films, or is it?
No, it's not a choice. It's no kind of choice. It's just, the directing is a different skill than writing, or not a different skill. It's a different. You need different tools, and I could direct a movie maybe in a language that I don't know or that I don't speak. But to write something, it's something that has to be very ingrained, rooted in you, and it has to, for some reason, the ideas are not for some reason.
Yeah.
The reason is because I come from there. All the ideas that I have, the ones that I generate, happen to be in Argentina.
Right. That's great. So you want
It's a country that gives us inspiration all the time.
Absolutely.
And it makes the job of the people who make fiction very hard. Very hard to compete. Yes.
Excellent. So you won a very well-deserved Academy Award in 2010 for The Secret in Their Eyes. Going back to 1986, there have only been 3 Latin American filmmakers who've won that award: yourself, Alfonso Cuarón, and Sebastián Lelio. I know that there are a lot of Latin American filmmakers in this audience.
But Luis Puenzo from Argentina had won the...
Oh, yeah, I mean, since 1986, yeah.
Okay. Oh, since 1986, okay.
Exactly. There are a lot of Latin American filmmakers in this audience. What advice do you have to them who like you, advice for Latin American filmmakers who, like you, want to tell stories in their home country, but hope to find the international stage that you found so well?
No, it's that you can't really plan that. You can't work for the international stage. On the contrary, I think that if you try to get the flavor, to get the local flavor out of the movie, out of the film, it will fail in the international stage. Everywhere, it will fail everywhere. I think that you have to be true to your story, tell the story that you want to tell in the best possible way, and the rest is just luck. It's luck. I always say that we have to tell universal themes with local flavor.
Yes.
And so the people all over the world will connect with the theme and with the characters, but they find something different in the flavors. So it's just being true to the story that you want to tell. The rest comes or doesn't. It depends on so many factors. It depends on... I remember my first movie in Argentina opened the day that we had a big bank robbery with hostages and made the work of 10 years fail. Just those guys, yes. They didn't just rob the bank. So from there, there's so many things that depend on what the fate of the movie will be, that all you can do is just focus on the story.
That's beautifully said. I've read that you were studying engineering when you decided to become a filmmaker. How did that? Was that something that was percolating before, or was it a sudden conversion? Or?
The film?
The decision to become a filmmaker.
Well, I know that I don't look it, but I'm over 30, and and I grew up where there were los cines de barrio. In our neighborhood we had four movie houses, and I spent 4 or 5 days a week to the theater, and to see the movies on a big screen. TV was in black and white, and you actually had to stand to change the channel. And I always loved it, but I never even considered it as a possibility for a living, because we had the mandate, family and social mandate, to have one of the classic careers: engineering, medicine, accounting, lawyer. And that was it. Architect was already beginning to begin.
Borderline.
Yeah. So I started engineering just because I liked math all my life, and I thought that was enough to be an engineer. And I was completely wrong, of course. And one day I was in the second year of engineering, and I started studying film at night, just as a hobby.
Yeah.
And it just took over, and it was a dissolve between engineering. Every time, I started failing more and more in engineering, and liking film more and more. And there was a day I saw It's a Wonderful Life, the movie that I'm sure you all know, that I actually went to see as a assignment from the class, and it changed my life. That movie changed my life, and I've been trying to copy it since then. And that day I decided to quit engineering and dedicate myself to this.
That's beautiful. We're all thankful for that. That's great.
Oh, thank you so much.
So Argentina has such a rich cinematic history, and it continues to have such a strong industry today. It seems American filmmakers mine Argentinian films for remakes a lot, and you had that experience with The Secret in the Eyes. What is it like to see your film remade in another country by another director?
It's interesting. I'm not against that. Some of my favorite movies are remakes.
Yeah.
Lubitsch, a movie. To me, the best director of comedies in the history of American film is Ernst Lubitsch, who was a German, and almost all his American movies were remakes.
Yeah.
Even The Shop Around the Corner was a remake from a Hungarian play that he saw. So I actually like to see what another person does with the same idea. There's always an adaptation and changes what fresh things they bring to it. I think it's like theater. No playwright would be offended if different casts across the world do their play. On the contrary, they're looking for that. So I like that.
Excellent. So
what I don't like is to have like 4 versions of the same movie around the world. So one remake is good enough. Yeah.
So turning to The Weasel's Tale, which
actually this movie is a remake.
Yes, that was my question.
Okay, well, yeah. So you see.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm very jealous of all of you that you're going to get to see it now for the first time. It's a really fun movie. I read that you and Darren Klumuk adapted the screenplay.
What?
You and Darren Klumuk?
Klumuk. Yes. Darren.
Adapted the screenplay from Los Muchachos de Antes No Usaban Arsénico. How did that come about? Is that something that you were long familiar with this and wanting to adapt?
It's a movie that was made in the 70s by one of my best professor and teacher and almost father and friend and everything. He just passed away about 6 months ago. And it was very funny at that time already. Over the years, I thought of many things that I would have loved. I thought it was a great vehicle to tell a lot of things that I wanted to tell, and at the same time do an homage to those films that were made at that time, those classic comedies that I was talking about. So there we went, with all the changes that some he liked, some he didn't, but it was very nice. It was very nice what he told me. He got to see it actually. I was very nervous. I was very nervous when he came to see it. And I started to see him, begins to smile and then laugh more, and I was relaxed. And after that, he told me, Juan, I wasn't sure when I came in if I wanted to like it or not. But I realized as I was watching it that I was watching a different movie, and I really enjoyed it, and it was really good. Yes.
That's great.
Jose Martinez Suarez was his name. Sorry, I wasn't mentioning it.
So talk to us a little about the casting of the film. It's so perfect. I can't imagine the film without Graciela Borges, Oscar Martinez, Luis Brandoni, everyone. Did you have them in mind when you were writing, or did that come later?
No, actually the script, I wrote the first draft of the script in 1997. So they were too young to play the parts. But I always had the idea that you'll see it's a great, and the people that worked in the movies. I'm not going to spoil anything because it has many twists. So you'll find out. But it had to be played. The 4 main characters had to be played by 4 stars.
Yeah.
4 people who brought a lot of baggage to the movies for the audience who knows them, and for the audience who don't know them. You'll see the reason why they are stars. Their faces, they're uncommon, their quality, their acting quality is incredible. And it was the toughest part, of course, was Mara. Yes. And when Graciela read the script, she's like our hugest movie star. She's specifically a film star. She's done very little theater, almost no television. She's just worked in movies since the 1950s. And you'll see her in the scenes that she's watching is a real her. And when she said yes, then it all fell into place. And Luis Brandoni, who's another actor with not only like 100 movies, but since 1964, there wasn't one season that he wasn't doing theater in Buenos Aires. So he has done theater since 1964 until he's opening another one in April. So Oscar Martinez, who won Best Actor in Venice, and many great actor, and Marcos Munstock, who is not film history, but his theater history. For us, he's an icon. If you're familiar with Les Luthiers, which is a great musical comedy group that has been going on for since the 60s, he's an icon for us. Wow. So there were, when that cast congealed, that was it was a pleasure to be there.
And did you, because their timing is so perfect, and did you rehearse a lot, or were they just kind of pros who showed up? And...
No, we read it. We read the script. We rehearsed about a week, 2 hours a day. Yeah. Some of the things, but then in film, you work on 3 minutes a day. So you can. They're pros enough. They're pros enough. And besides, one of the I'm sure that many people here are Argentinian. There were events happening as usual while we were making the movie, and one of the actors, Luis Brandoni specifically, he's very interested in politics. He was a representative and a culture secretary and everything. So he was permanently. They have an incredible ability to not let they're not method actors. They're actors who just turn it on and off.
Wow.
Astounding. It's astounding to watch them work.
That's wonderful. That's amazing. You're going to enjoy it so much. So I'll wrap up asking you what other film, theater, television projects you're working on right now?
I'm working on a film, on a new script with Eduardo Sacheri, who I co-wrote Secret in the Rise. It was based on his novel. We're building a theater in Buenos Aires, in downtown Buenos Aires, a 700-seat theater, and we'll have to write something to put on the stage.
Great.
And we're developing many television things.
Wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to say to set up the film for the audience?
No. Enjoy it. Enjoy. Let yourself go. It's a story. It's Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Juan José Campanella.